Oh my gosh. And no more. All right, live on YouTube, we have Susan Michelle, Myrna Sculler, Surrender to Joy. Here you guys are.
Thanks.
Hi, this is Susan Michelle in Western Massachusetts. It is so great to be here. And I am with my great friend, soul sister, Course in Miracle companion, Myrna Scholar in Boca Raton, Florida. How are you today, Myrna?
Oh, very well. Yeah, I mean it's beautiful. It's always beautiful. In my world, it's always beautiful. And that's what I perceive the unfolding of miracles to be, where it's one miracle after another. I live in the miracle. And or the miracles that just seem to multiply and quadruple, and they're always there. I understand what they are because they're happening. So how could it not be a wonderful feeling?
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Yep, that's what life is all about, living in the bliss, unfolding, never-ending miracles. So I am the author of Surrender to Joy, From Suicide to Serenity, based on the principles of A Course in Miracles. Myrna is the author of Private Lessons with Jesus, along with 5 other books. And her newest book is Love's Chosen Destiny, which I am still waiting to receive. I'm so excited to read that one. We are here to teach the transformational truth of A Course in Miracles, which we have both been studying for approximately 35 years. And it is my purpose, it is my passion when I can live in accordance to the truth that I know to be real. I just feel so good. I mean, my introduction starts out, my passion is God. God is love and joy and beauty. He is all that is good in the world. Everything else is our own miscreation. When we are filled with joy, we are connected to God. When we are not joyful, we have lost our connection to all that is real. This is my message. It can be clarified in 3 simple words: surrender to joy. There is nothing to find. All we need to do is surrender. I mean, I have a little bookmark in front of me right now. This is a Course in Miracles bookmark. And what it says, the peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. A Course in Miracles, Workbook 188. I mean, as you so astutely said a couple minutes ago, Myrna, is that our life is all about being a conduit for miracles, being a conduit for God's divine love. And when we can find that peace, love, joy, and beauty within, our only desire is to share that love with our brother. I have been listening to Course in Miracles all morning, from the very beginning. And I've heard the word so many times, but to really digest the meaning behind the words in A Course in Miracles is just so miraculous. It's so beautiful. It's so brilliant. I mean, God needs me as much as I need him. I was created in God's image. And whenever I am fearful in any way, I lose touch with the truth of who I am. So there is no reason for me ever to be fearful. There is no reason for me to ever be anxious when I can truly trust that God is always with me. there is nothing for me to fear. And that's why we're here on this earthly plane. That's why we're here in the earthly classroom. We're here to undo the fear. We're here to atone. But atonement is simply undoing. It's an undoing of the egoic thought system. So as we move forward, as we get closer to the truth of who we are, we're just kind of undoing all the mistakes that we've made along the way, because God doesn't hold us accountable for any of our mistakes. All we need to do is forgive ourselves. And by forgiving ourselves, we're remembering the truth of who we are. When we forgive our brothers, we're remembering the truth of who we are. Any thoughts, Myrna?
Yeah, whatever you say evokes a thought because it's all truth. And truth is there, it's just there. There's nothing to deny. You mentioned surrender to joy. I like the title of your book, because what is surrender? It's letting go. It's making the truth of who we are available to us right now. It's not fighting the inevitable. And what is the inevitable? The inevitable is that we are love. I mean, we are who we are. We are truth. We're love. We're holy, and the holiness can never be defiled. It's eternal. And as long as we surrender to that, and I hate to say that I'm surrendering to joy. It's great. It really is, because that's what we do. We have to surrender to it. And why would we want to surrender to something that is doesn't require a fight? It doesn't require agitation. Surrendering is just to let it be. That's what joy is. Surrender to it. But the ego considers it a surrender, something that we have to give up, that it values. And what is the ego giving up in order to surrender to joy or love or happiness or holiness? What is it giving up? It's giving up the hell of the ego, which confounds us every single day. And we come to understand that that ego hold on us is something that we give it power to do. And until we recognize it, until we can see that we have the ability to be just as we were created, and to experience that would be to be in the present. To be anywhere other than the present engenders mind wandering. And mind wandering really does get us into trouble, because we bring up past events that hold no truth, that very often cause us pain. And when we get into that place, the ego is now at the helm. The ego is in control. So it's a matter of seeing that you are in control by surrendering to the love. And I love that. I really do. A little while ago, I was saying that I live in the miracle. I absolutely do. I live the miracle. I see it unfolding all the time. Things happen on a moment to moment. I'm sorry, moment to moment, where a problem, even before it occurs, is already solved. I can see that happening. Even little things. The street that I live is being paved, and we needed to get our car out the day before, so that or else we're kind of captive here for a couple of days, for 36 hours. I never got that message. I never got that email. It just so happens that a neighbor happened to walk by as I was getting my mail. Oh, don't forget to, tomorrow the street is being paved. what? I didn't know that. So the very fact that I learned of it, it's a miracle. At that moment, I happened to be at the right place at the right time. But I see this happening all the time. And the more I live within that completeness, the more I experience miracles that are ongoing.
The Course in Miracles, as you said, Myrna, states that we are much too tolerant of mind wandering. So, what it is teaching us is mental discipline. What is discipline? Training that develops self-control, character, and efficiency. That was a definition that I had taped on my refrigerator for years. But we need to discipline our minds to focus on the truth of who and what we are. I mean, how do we know if we are in our right mind? When we're in our right mind, we feel at peace. It's just there is a serenity that washes over me. My book is entitled Surrender to Joy from Suicide to Serenity. I like that word serenity because when my mind is at peace, there's a serenity that washes over me. And this is our natural state. Our natural state is one that is calm and peaceful and filled with serenity. I mean, this is how we ready ourselves for a miracle because we were born to be conduits for God's divine love. We were born to be miracle workers, but we need to be in a state of miracle readiness. This is what A Course in Miracles tells us. And when there is any fear in our minds, we're blocking the miracle because fear is of our ego. Fear is of our lower self. Fear is not of God. So when I have any fear or any angst or any stress or any anxiety, I'm not in my right mind and the miracle can't get through. But we always have free will. So if I notice that there's any angst, in my system, what I can do is I can release the angst. I can pray, ask Christ for help because Christ is always available whenever we call him. I can pray, I can ask Jesus for help. I can release the fear, and then I can just kind of reset my mind and focus on the peace, love, joy, and happiness of who I am. And I can feel my energy uplift itself. I can feel myself connect to the truth of who I am. When my mind is aligned with God's mind, there is nothing to fear. There is only joy. And then at this point, I can just be the miracle worker I was born to be. I can allow the love to shine through me. I can allow the love to move through me. I heard a Course in Miracles teacher describe us as Course in Miracles students as the faucet. We're the faucets for the miracles. God's love is the water that comes through the faucet. But when we're in our right mind, we're the conduit, we're the faucet. We allow the miracles to come through us. I mean, I think God he uses our words, he uses our personality, he uses our sense of humor, but it comes from love. Miracles come from love. And when we do not block the miracles with fear, the love comes through us at each and every moment. And it's such a joyful state to reside in. So I was listening to Course in Miracles text on Audible. this morning for quite some time. And even though it's probably the 100th time that I've listened to the words, when you can really digest the truth of what A Course in Miracles is telling us, it is so beautiful. I mean, it's saying to me that God needs me as much as I need him. I mean, that's so beautiful because God created me in his image. So why would I ever get down on myself? Why? I didn't create myself. God created me. So if I get down on myself, it's like I'm giving God a slap in the face and telling him he did something bad. I mean, what we need to do is we need to live our life in gratitude and in love, because I did not create myself. God created me, and he needs me as much as I need him. And it's just so important to slow down. It's important to breathe. It's important to pray. It's important to love. Today's workbook lesson is lesson 299. And I always say, if you can truly digest and embody any one workbook lesson, I mean, you got the gist of the whole course. That's what I think. But lesson 299 is so incredibly beautiful. The subject is eternal holiness abides in me. Eternal love abides in me. And I'm not special. Eternal holiness abides in each and every one of us. And it's really up to us to embody that state of mind, right, Myrna?
Yes, my holiness abides in me. Um, a few minutes ago, you said that God needs us as much as we need him. I once had that aha moment, which I go back to every now and then, just what you're saying. Do you realize? I mean, I kind of got into this amazing place where I saw that I had to be a thought in God's mind before he created me. God had to think of me before he created me. Think of the love, okay, that had to be engendered in order for us to be created, that God thought of me, God thought of you, God thought of Susan. You were thought in his mind before you were even created. That thought occurred to God to create you, me. I mean, this was such an amazing eruption, of truth at that moment. And every now and then I have those wonderful moments, miracle moments, and that was one of them. So when you said God needs us as much as we need him, it's because, he's not really complete with all his parts, with every part of him. Okay. And that's why he wants all his parts to become aware of the love that they're instilled with. And I love that. I really did. Today's lesson. My holiness, eternal holiness abides in me, eternal holiness. So when God did think of us, God had that thought of creating us. Well, it wasn't just for now. It wasn't just an idea, something to be thought of and forgotten. This is now eternal. God took this very, very seriously. And so if eternal holiness abides in me, then why not recognize that we are eternally safe? If the holiness that he created in me abides in me, then that would be indication that I am a son of God, to be cherished always, now and always, now and into eternity. And eternity, we can't even comprehend what eternity is. Eternity is unending. Imagine unending love. How can we refute that? It's just a remarkable thought to mull over, that we are completely safe. a little while ago when I was listening to Pow Talk, and it came about that, we kind of, the ego will tell us, well, why am I protected? Why am I better than the next one? We look at the news, we hear about all the sadness, the horror that's going on in the world. So why are other people suffering when I am completely safe? But that's an ego thought, because it doesn't matter. The idea is to just know that you don't have to go beyond the truth, the oneness, be in that place, that pureness, that place, and don't let the ego have its way with you by bending backward and saying, well, why am I better than the next one? We tend to say that. The ego will say that. But how can you think that you're so special? Why would God love you more than those that are out there and suffering? But I think the truth is, and in a way, it's kind of arrogant, because God tells us that's not so. God tells us that we have to look at our own holiness, recognizing we are forever safe. And what we can do to save the world is just extend the love that we're given to extend. That's what we're given to do. We're given to feel the love, to feel protected, to feel whole and holy, and then to take that holiness and love and extend it in order to create the healing in the world. And that I think is coming about. I think in this time and place that healing, tremendous healing that we don't even hear about, is occurring, because I think on a collective level, so many of us are recognizing that it is our job to feel the love, and we are feeling it. I think the more that humanity grows in that wonderful concept, the more it becomes more renowned, and it does include our brothers, right, Susan?
That's right, Myrna. That's very right. Yeah, you brought up a lot of thoughts by what you said, because I've thought about this subject for quite some time. And I believe that A Course in Miracles is telling us that we cannot save people from suffering by suffering with them. We don't want to reflect ego consciousness back to our brother, because when people choose to suffer, and I'm not saying that I don't ever choose to suffer, because of course at times I choose to suffer, but when we acknowledge, when we teach people that pain is okay, we're basically teaching from the ego thought system, because pain is not of God, suffering is not of God, but we have free choice while we're here in this earthly classroom. So if I choose to suffer, I'm siding with my ego. And we all choose to suffer at times, because very few of us are enlightened. But when we're in our right mind, we do not suffer. So if I see someone else suffering, I mean, I think for me to see through the suffering to the Christ within them is of God. I think that's what Jesus did when he was in his body. I mean, he saw people that were ill. He saw people that were suffering, but he knew that wasn't the truth of who they were. So he saw through the illness, he saw through the form that their body took on. He saw the beauty, he saw the Christ within them. And because of his vision, they felt the holiness within themselves, and they healed themselves. They healed their mind, they healed their body. And I believe we can all do what Jesus did. That's what Jesus is teaching us to do. He's teaching us to live the life that he led while he was here on this earthly plane. That's what he's teaching us to do through A Course in Miracles. So when we are seeing truly, we are seeing the Christ in other people. When we are seeing truly, we are recognizing our own holiness, and we are seeing the holiness in our brothers. We are seeing past their suffering. We are seeing through their suffering. I mean, I remember once I was driving along, and I was with a friend of mine, and there was someone that was walking, and he was on crutches. He had something wrong with his leg, and he was kind of hobbling, and it looked like he was struggling. And my friend said, "I feel so sorry for that man." And I remember at the time that she said that, I was very plugged into my God socket. And I said, "Well, why?" I said, Why feel sorry for him? He's a beautiful child of God, and okay, he has crutches right now, but it's not of God to feel sorry for someone else. I don't think God feels sorry for any of his children. I mean, I wouldn't want anyone to feel sorry for me. So I remember I kind of saw through the external, and I saw the Christ within him, and so did my friend. And it's just such a uplifting way to see the world, to see through the suffering, to see through the challenges, to see the beauty within them. I see Zulma just put a little heart in her chat box. Zulma, if you want to share, please feel free. I love what you say. But that's when I feel the most connected to God, when I'm seeing through anything sacrificial, when I'm seeing through anything that comes from the ego. And that's kind of what miracles are all about. We are reflecting back to our brothers how much they have to be grateful for, not how much they're struggling. I mean, I spent so much of my life struggling. I spent so much of my life in my egoic thought system, and it's not like, oh, I'm you know enlightened now and I never struggle, because of course at times I do struggle, but I know when I am struggling, I'm not in my right mind. I know when I am struggling, I'm siding with my ego. And what's so much more empowering is to let go and surrender to the joy within me. And we can really only see in other people what we embody within ourselves. So when I'm really embodying the truth of who I am, I'm seeing the joy in my brother. And when I can see through the external, and I can see the joy and the Christ-like nature within them, it's like I feel better, they feel better. I mean, that's what a miracle is. We recognize our own holiness, and we see that holiness within our brother. Jesus, the difference between Jesus and me is that I have everything that Jesus had. Jesus does not have anything that I do not have. The difference between him and me now is he doesn't have anything else. Jesus does not have anything that does not come from God. All Jesus has is love. I still have those blocks. But when I can release those blocks, when I can release my fear, when I can release my anxiety, and I can connect to the truth of who I am, it's just such a joyful state of mind to reside in. And when I'm in that state of mind, I see the beauty in my brother. I see through their pain to the beauty that exists within them. And by seeing the love that exists within them, I mean, they feel that love within themselves, and that's such an empowering mindset to connect in. Course in Miracles tells us that we can only really connect in a state of Christ consciousness. That's the only way we can really connect with our brother. Physical closeness cannot achieve it. And when we're in our egoic mind, we can't connect with our brothers. But when we're in an elevated state of love, we can connect with our brothers. And that's where our that's the end of our loneliness. I mean, that's what we all aspire to do. We all aspire to connect to our brothers from a state of love, from a high, from an elevated vibrational frequency. That's the end of the ego. That's the end of the stress. That's what A Course in Miracles is teaching us to do, right, Myrna?
Yes, that's true. Hi, Zulma. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Anyway, good to have you with us today. Like Susan said, if you have anything to say, just jump right in. You always have good things to say. You talk about Jesus, Jesus, oh my God, Jesus, it's my favorite. He's my favorite person. It's my favorite subject to talk about. Um, he's my favorite subject to talk about because there's just so much love to be felt. And when I get into that love, that connection with him, it is remarkable. And that's when everything goes right. When I connect, and I'm always connected to him. But there was a wonderful book that I read, and it's called Jesus and the Essenes by Dolores Cannon. And the Essenes, Jesus did not like a formal religion. He was not a religious icon. The Essenes were more of they were mystics. They believed in the mystical, the you know just what the Course in Miracles talks about, the love, the mystical is what we're feeling. It's not what we're studying really, although certainly we can gain a lot by studying. I'm not refuting that at all, but there's so much of it is just naturally understood, naturally felt, and in fact. The Essenes really, in fact, the Kabbalah, Jewish Kabbalah, is really very much connected to the Essenes. It's the mystical. It's not the teachings, from the student on a student level. It's what we can't see. It's what we can't touch. It's what we're feeling. And there really is a difference. What we're feeling and recognizing from within is I believe what Jesus was experiencing, and the more he came into that, the more he allowed it to evolve, to expand, the greater he became. And his teachings really were so alien, I think, to that particular time in history when he was trying to teach that. Many people got it. But when you think about his death, when Pontius Pilate said, okay, who do we want to be crucified? Barabbas, who was a criminal, I think he was a murderer, or Jesus? And the crowd said, Jesus, Jesus. Why? I think, the media, and the media, when I say media, people become brainwashed. They listen to what the next one is talking about. People that couldn't understand what he was trying to teach, love. They didn't understand that. They took it as an attack. So people forgot. They forgot what he had done. They didn't look to now kind of take into consideration all the wonders that he did, all the miracles that he performed. The crowd voted to have him crucified. Think about how odd that is. And I think that happens in today's world. We listen to the media. We don't judge for ourselves. We just look at what the media is projecting, really, which they project fear, and you don't even know that what you're listening to is the truth, and yet we react to what we're hearing, and we believe it. And so I think it's still happening today, right, Susan?
Yeah, that's very interesting what you said. I do believe that. I think there is so much fear-based, so many fear-based thoughts on the news. And I think that the news will talk about divisiveness. The news will talk about fear that is going on in the world today, because this really draws the attention of so many people. And I'm I wonder why that is. I mean, that's very similar to what happened 2000 years ago when Jesus was alive. Like, why would people want to kill someone who was innocent and who was teaching the meaning of love and was fully connected to God? Like, why would people want to kill this love-filled being? And you're right. I mean, it's very similar to what's going on today. And I'm not sure why that is. I mean, God did not create this world. That is very clear, and it is throughout A Course in Miracles. The world happened because of the separation. You know, the separation occurred when the Son of God forgot to laugh. So somehow we went from a state of joy to a state of fear in our mind. That's when the world was created. We're all here trying to find our way back home to heaven, whether we are actively on a spiritual journey, a spiritual path or not. Everyone on a deep level is trying to find their way back home to God in heaven. And we cannot find our peace, love, joy, and happiness in this world. It doesn't exist in this world. We need to find that place within ourselves, you know, because that's the only place that it can be found. Again, last night, I was in a bit of a funky mindset. You know, I had a challenging afternoon. I I went to bed with a bit of a funky mindset. You know, I was watching a movie with my husband about a serial killer, you know, so it was entertaining, but I think some negativity seeped into my mind. And this morning I woke up a little off kilter. However, I went down and I started listening to my YouTube list of people that I enjoy listening to read the lesson of the day, 299, Eternal Holiness Abides in Me. And it just, the energy of what I was hearing was really just coming into my body, and I was focusing on the peace and the love and the holiness that existed in me. And then I prayed, because I know that if I really discipline my mind, I can find that state of mind, because that state of mind that's all about love is who I am. So I prayed, and then I meditated for 30 minutes, and I focused on forgiveness, you know, forgiving everyone in my life, forgiving myself. And then I started to connect to God. I could feel myself plugging myself into my God socket, you know, and I have a little timer set on my phone, and the timer went off after 30 minutes, and I decided, oh, this is feeling really good. I think I'm going to give myself a little more time. So I did another 15 minutes. So that was 45 minutes of meditation. And by the end of my 45 minutes, I just felt so connected. I felt so connected to the truth of who I am. And it didn't come from anything I found in the world. It came from connecting to something within myself. A Course in Miracles is so very clear that we cannot find what our soul is searching for in the world. We can only find what our soul is searching for within ourselves. And I remembered a few people that I'm having a hard time forgiving. And A Course in Miracles is very clear that the only way we can feel the truth of who we are, the way we can feel God's essence is by forgiving our brothers. We're not forgiving our brothers for their sake, even though they might benefit from our forgiveness. We're forgiving our brothers so I can hear God's guidance, because I cannot hear God's guidance when I'm holding on to resentment towards my brother. So I did my best to forgive my brothers, yes, yet again. And when I can truly forgive my brothers, I can feel that peace, love, joy, and happiness that resides within my own mind. But again, it's not in the world, because God did not create the world. The kingdom of heaven is within, and it can never be taken away. I mean, the world cannot harm us. Nobody can harm us. I think I told a story on Monday about a woman that I met in a liquor store. I do some brand ambassador promotional modeling work. And there was this woman that came into the liquor store, and she walked over to my table, and she was just so not nice. She was just so nasty, she had a very gruff attitude, and then she sipped the drink that I was serving, and she said, "Oh, this is horrible." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry you don't like it. Would you like me to take it from you?" "Take this from me? I'm not done. Let me finish." And then, I started talking. She said, "Can't you shut your mouth for a minute? Do you just talk all the time?" And she proceeded to project her fear onto me. And what happened, for whatever reason, I was plugged into my God socket. I didn't get the least bit defensive. I loved her, and mentally, I was just throwing her love, and I was feeling so good, and she ended up buying the product, and I saw her as my angel, because we don't have to take other people's projections personally. The world cannot hurt us. Zolma has her hand raised. Hi, Zolma.
Hello, hello. I am enjoying, ladies. Uh, and you both said something that's absolutely so, that what we are seeking, what we want, what brings us that love and peace and joy is not in the world, clearly. And when we start talking about what we're forgiving, we're attempting to forgive something in the world, because we're attempting to forgive bodies for what they've done. And we can't find it in there. The only place to find it, the only place is, as you both very clearly stated, is within. I love what you said, Myrna, about the media. Back in the day, and even now, that's exactly what it is. Everybody's out here, out there, seeking for something out there, and they're not finding it. Because they're not realizing that the only place to find it is within. To as Susan says, to be plugged into that God socket. When we're plugged into our God socket, we realize there's nothing out there. And even those things that we're seeing, that somebody did or somebody said or whatever have you, it's not what they did or what they said that we need to forgive, because that's the world. What we need to forgive is what we think about that thing. So it's really we still have to go bit within again for all of it. I am truly enjoying you ladies today. Thank you so much. I'm going back on mute now. I'm at work. So. Thank you.
Thank you, Zulma. Myrna, any thoughts? Myrna, you're muted. Myrna, you're muted.
How's that? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yep,
So
that's good.
I want to go back to what we were talking about before with Jesus, really, because I came up with some stuff that I just Googled. According to the Bible, the crowd chose to have Jesus crucified instead of Barabbas because the Jewish religious leaders who were opposed to Jesus had stirred up the crowd to demand Barabbas's release, likely due to fear of Jesus's growing influence and the potential threat he posed to their authority. So again, this is ego versus spirit. The ego considered him a threat. It's a threat, the showing of love is a threat to my ego's hatred. It's to oppose to what I believe, or they believed, not what I believe. I meant what they were thinking in those days. And here again, the Jewish leaders saw Jesus as a threat to their power and used their influence to sway the crowd towards choosing Barabbas, a known insurrectionist who was considered more acceptable. He was more acceptable than Jesus was. Why is that? And I think the Course in Miracles tells us all of this. It's almost trying to explain today through the Course in Miracles what was it, what happened 2,000 years ago. The threat, how the ego is so darn powerful that it convinces us of untruths. And so that's really the masses began to believe that, or what they're told to believe, just like today, except today we use TV to do that. I just want to read one last thing about that. Some theologians interpret the choice between Jesus and Barabbas as a representation of choosing between spiritual freedom and earthly desires, with the crowd choosing the latter by selecting Barabbas. So what is it saying? The choice between spiritual freedom and earthly desires. They wanted their earthly desires. That's what they knew. That's what they believed. That's what was the all encompassing strength, was the ego's thought system. And we're beginning to understand that now. And even theologians are trying to interpret that. And here again, just what the Course in Miracles teaches us, that we're taking our earthly desires over spiritual freedom. And we're still learning that. We're still trying to understand the difference and to choose really what is really our freedom. Our freedom is to not give in to the earthly desires that truly control us. And every day our earthly desires come about, not only because we want material things and we want more and we want more and more. It's never enough. And you can see that people want the power. It's never enough. They want complete and total power. And this is the fight, between good and evil. Power over truth. That's really what it, today on a much wider scale, we see it happening. And I see it happening, with the two parties that are so vehemently opposing one another. And we'll see. I believe, to me, it's about good and evil again. That's really what I'm kind of trying to understand about what's happening. But the bottom line, though, is that what is spiritual freedom as opposed to earthly desires? Not only just the material things, but the the earthly desires have to do with just wanting people to believe what we're saying. And if we can't convince somebody, we become agitated, we become annoyed. It's a matter of convincing somebody to feel the way we do. That's not spiritual freedom. Spiritual freedom is to love the other for what and who they are, and understand that that love really can only come from me. It doesn't come from the world, it comes from me. So I give it back to you, Susan.
Yeah, very interesting, Myrna. Spiritual freedom versus earthly desires. Um, I mean, the earth cannot satisfy our soul's deepest yearning. It's just impossible. And I have learned this lesson over and over at so many times in this lifetime. It's like what I'm really searching for, is within me right here, right now. Um, we speak about the Wizard of Oz so many times here in Pal Talk. I wrote a lot in my book about the Wizard of Oz. It's such a great analogy of the meaning of life. Dorothy is unhappy at home with Auntie M and her uncles, and she thinks that her happiness lies on the other side of the rainbow. But once she gets on the other side of the rainbow, the only thing she wants to do is to get back home. So she goes on this long journey trying to find a way to get back home to Kansas. And then she realizes at the end of her journey that she had the power within herself the whole time. All she needs to do is to click her ruby red slippers together 3 times. And the same is true with us. We think we are searching for something in this world to make us happy, but nothing in this world can make us happy. Like what we're looking for is within. So all we have to do metaphorically is to click our shoes together 3 times. I mean, for me, it's that place in meditation that I find when my monkey mind stops that egoic chit chat. When I can just find that place within my mind, I feel at peace. And that's what A Course in Miracles is telling us, that everything is perfect right here, right now. All that we think we need in the world is within us. So it's just to accept the present moment fully, and to know that God loves me, to open my heart and allow God's love to come into my heart. I have everything that I need right here, right now. Um, and you mentioned the truth. The truth is simple. It's a very simple truth, and that's what A Course in Miracles is teaching us. The truth is simple. It's because the answer is love. The answer is always love. No one can hurt us. All we need to do is love. It's just so simple. It's not easy because the world is run on the egoic thought system. The world is teaching us to defend our position. As you said, we end up attacking people who disagree with us. That's not of God. When we're in our right mind, we have no reason to defend anything. And that's why A Course in Miracles teaches us that our strength and our power is in our defenselessness. That's why the innocent will inherit the earth. The innocent will inherit everything because they have nothing to defend. Our true strength is in our innocence. We have no need to defend anything. We have no need to attack anything. All we need to do is know that we are loved. All we need to do is extend that love to our brother. I embody the essence of innocence. It's such a powerful mantra that I say often throughout the day. I embody the essence of innocence. And when I'm truly connected to the innocence within myself, again, I have no need to defend anything, and I have no desire to attack anyone. All I want to do is love, because love heals all. Right, Myrna?
Wow, that is great. You really kind of exuded that one, that wonderful truth. It's everything you said. It's all about the love. It's all about knowing, who we are and living in that entity and accepting it and just being. Everything is just about being. It's not about doing, just be, and so I think it's wonderful, that you kind of brought that out. And yeah, I love too that you talk about the Wizard of Oz. I mean, it's a great subject. Even she used, the song "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." Well, even rainbows are considered of God, of love, of people think of a rainbow, and they think of a beloved that they lost somewhere, lost in the beauty of a rainbow, and that they're recognizing that connection is so wonderful, the rainbow. So everything that the course that the Wizard of Oz, shows us in the movie, and if you can sort of look at everything and recognize that every little thing has meaning, and I think that's why we see that movie over and over again, because everything we learn something new each and every time. And you mentioned that over the rainbow just a little while ago on a Pal Talk. They were talking about the rainbow and the significance it has to to the spirit and the soul and the heart.
Thank you, Myrna. Thank you. Thank you. And it is now 2 o'clock, and I love the time that we spent together here. As always, I love you so much. And thank you, Zolma. And thank you for being here with us. And as A Course in Miracles says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. What that means is the only thing that's real is the love. I love you. Thank you. And I will now return the microphone to Lynn.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Myrna. Thank you, Susan. Beautiful sharing. And I'm so grateful for you guys being here on Fridays. And we will see you Monday.